Hello, my friends. I am Miss Catu Mask. The time of this recording is 12:34, April 26, 2026. I just got up. My breakfast was a trio of glizzies. That was more than yesterday, which was a single glizzy. But I had them in the fridge for so long, I knew I had to eat him soon, so I ate him. That's it. That'll do me for another 10-12 hours. And then I'll have the other half of this applesauce that hopefully will not make my tongue numb again. And then we will be done for the day, in all likelihood. Such is life in the zone. Yesterday, while we were playing in Ricky Honajase's event, who, by the way, he is French, I received a phone call from my grandmother, who is once again for the third time. That's three. That's medicine's three. Stuck in the hospital. In a panicked and desperate voice, she asked me, "Why am I upside down?" And then she asked me, "Where are you?" To which I replied, "I'm at home. Where else would I be?" The rest of her speech was entirely unintelligible, and then she hung up. To me, that kind of encapsulates the last 5 months of my life. For 5 months has this blithering insanity progressed. And it will not stop, it will not slow down. It will only get worse because that's how life is. So in the last coffee hour, this will be Coffee Hour of the Dark Age, episode 4. I think I forgot to mention that. In the last coffee hour, Medicine's 3, the Razor Wind Edge. I said that she was coming home, and which she did. And then she promptly went back to the hospital for a month because she had pneumonia. Yep, the rehab center did absolutely nothing for her but give her pneumonia. Well, she was able to sit up, and she was even able to stand up. She was able to stand up out of bed and get into her wheelchair. Very, very difficult, mind you. Obviously very weak, but she was able to do it. With some coaxing. And some patience. After she came back, all that was gone. She could not sit up, she can't do anything. And that has been the new norm. 24/7, minute by minute care. Not to speak of all the adjacent things. You know, there's so many phases to this story that if I wanted to tell you all of it, we would be here for all day. And I got D&D maps to make, or I'm gonna have to cancel this game once and for all. Let's get Unreal started. I got stuff I gotta do today. We are so far behind. We didn't have a session last week because Schwa was out socializing with her husband or family or whoever. But I would have had to cancel that session anyways. Absolutely 100%. Because the session prior to that, we reached the absolute end of my content. This has happened once before with Autumn Wind, actually. I believe we hit the end of my content at some point. But, or maybe it was SS. It was one of the two. But, actually, maybe, I don't remember which game it was now. I thought it was Autumn Wind. But my mind is fucking pudding, so I don't really remember too much of anything these days. We're on the fast track to the road of utter insanity because we hit the end of my content. I had nothing else prepared. And we're in an area that needs a lot of work. And for the last 2 years, in which I have decided to foolishly run this fucking game in spite of everything that's going on in my shit life, I have been perpetually further and further and further behind. I started this game thinking, I know what was wrong with Autumn Wind, and of course I was looking after the cats during that time. So, I'm armed with knowledge, I might be able to make another game. And then I realized after I had pitched it to the players and gotten their interest that I had no way to make maps at the time. So, I don't think things through very well. Very Canadian. To the core. You can tell I'm part native. Absolutely. Even worse, you can tell I'm probably part British. So, the Abe campaign has been a string of tragedy as a result of the lack of ability to prepare. Not just for lack of time, but lack of mental fortitude, lack of concentration and focus, and just general existential fatigue. Well, that was before shit really hit the fan in the last 5 months. And you know, all this business with my grandmother and the stroke and pneumonia and whatever else they're holding her up for, you know, could be bad. We don't get any communication. I've actually just gotten a lot of miscommunication. I've gotten a lot of misinformation that they've said that a physiotherapist would I had 2 separate fucking doctors tell me they would send a physiotherapist to talk to her and see if they could actually fucking do something for a change. No one has talked to her. They just straight up lied to my face, because that's how the system in this country works. Anyways, in spite of all that, that isn't even the worst thing that's happened in this year. That's not even the worst thing that's happened this year. I used to know 4 people, okay? I knew 4 people in real life. Now, 3 of them are basically just acquaintances. Well, one of them's dead now. So I know 3. That includes my grandmother. So, death came pretty suddenly. And it was not a good death. And I did not get to see them before the end. So, that is just another number on the docket for the 2020s. The terrible 2020s that have definitely turned the decades of hell into a pitched fever of insanity, and everything is going absolutely fucking batshit insane. Now, as one might surmise, as a result of this very, very rapid spiral down the drain, I don't really have too much good to report at all, as far as like projects are concerned. So Apex X is the big one. When I talked about that last, I mentioned I wanted to make that a commercial project. Now, one can have these lofty aspirations of buying a home and whatever, but that's never going to happen in this country. Really, what I wanted to do is be able to pay off my debt to HKS. He could use some help too, you know. Well, that's not going to happen, at least not with Apex X. I said that because I had done some preliminary research on the viability of obtaining some viable base meshes for the player character. But I hadn't actually gone ahead and confirmed licensing with this stuff. So that's what I had been doing over several months, is waiting for responses about that. And I will tell you, to present day, I still have not gotten a response from a lot of people about a lot of different things. Most of it related to the clarification of licensing. So, for example, we have a dude that made a model, and he released it under a non-commercial license. Very likely because it's a fan asset. We had someone who backported that model to Blender. He released it under a public domain license. Now, that's not how this works. You can't just do that, unless the dude gave him permission to do this. So, this was not specified, and therefore I had to get into contact with one of these dudes to clarify. So, I got in contact with both of them. And by got in contact with both of them, I mean I messaged them across multiple platforms each. I have yet to get a response from anyone 4 months after the fact. That there is an encapsulation of the insanity that I've uncovered. And actually, sort of more or less the tip of the iceberg, really. Anyways, I have like an hour-long recording I made for a coffee hour that never got made. That goes more in-depth into this stuff. I'm actually going to tack that onto a separate video, I'll call it the Apex XT2 State of the Project video. I'll go more into technical details with that. But there's also the fact that I discovered there's actually no creature assets out there, pretty much. There's like a couple from like Protofactor and a couple of really overpriced ones from middleware companies. By a couple, I mean like 3, 4, 5 maybe, tops, if you're good at animating. I went in there looking for anything, even shit without animations. I went through every fucking marketplace I could find, top to bottom. I spent months doing this. There's nothing. There's actually nothing out there. So I was at the point that if I had actually gotten my hands on a base mesh and I was actually capable of updating it and fixing it up and making it viable to replace our current one, that I was going to start shooting off emails to the IP holders of... all the games I've been ripping assets from. So, you know, Lineage 2, Terra, Bless. And you can even try. I mean, Blizzard hasn't done anything about Jetty 92, the guy that is still uploading assets with their animations, stolen animations, on Fab to this day. He's been selling them for years.
Now in the
like
lobby.
really blatant.
Cat.
And I have been
Dun.
reporting this shit for a while, right? So we're I got interrupted there. There was that really threw me off. So yeah, I'm cooked. Anyways, they don't care. Maybe they wouldn't even respond to an email asking about this. I mean, they really just don't. They used to. Blizzard used to be really ravenous about lawfare. I mean, Blizzard basically invented the modern DMCA. They are responsible in large part for how it's enforced today. They set the precedent. But I feel like all the diversity hiring, the diversity firing, the general incompetence, malice, and shakedown from Microsoft and everything else that's happened down there may have caused their entire legal team to be evicted in favor of nothing. Just email addresses that probably nobody even has access to anymore. So that's an interesting situation. Anyways, it didn't do me any good. I wasn't going to get any rights for any of that stuff anyways. Most the most I could possibly get is from one of these companies that's like babysitting the dead MMOs, like Terra or Bless. Might try to like offer me a contract of like, you know, you pay us however many millions of dollars. But that's not gonna happen. So, yeah, that project's gonna stay private. I'll just use whatever model I want. So right now it's determining what I'm gonna do with the player character. And I'll talk a little bit about that in the State of the Project video. I have some recordings, but one of the things I'm going to be talking to you about today is how fucked all these video projects are and how progressing them is really difficult. So what I've been doing in the interim is when I have the time, I am re-verifying these old videos from years ago that used to be part of the website, the psychological adventures that are a part of the compilation section. So I think there's 3, that's Metzin's 3 of the WoW Rant 2 Side B videos currently up. I can't upload the whole thing. For one, the whole thing was never finished. Real life got in the way of that, 2019 and all. And but I can upload some of it. Some of it isn't as spicy. For YouTube, that is. So you'll get some of that if you're interested. There was also the if you're wondering why I have 2 directories here, these here have no audio at all, and they're like pre-edited versions, and when I try to seek them, it just freezes. I don't remember having a character called Goatseer. Dude, it just fucking froze. Oh, there we go. Orgasm. Yeah, that's, I named that. That's not actually originally my name. That's a name I named off of someone else. And then there was me soloing instances or something. I'm not really sure. I don't remember a lot of what's in those videos. It was a lifetime ago at this point. So those are 2 series, 2 the big ones that I'm looking to upload some select pieces from what I can, but times are tough. I have obviously with the limited time, I have very limited time. Like, I'm open to casting Naraka replays. If you got a Naraka replay you want casted, you can send me the hash in game and I'll try to cast it. But when I cast those is at like 2 or 3 a.m. because that's when I have the most amount of free time. Because I do have to get up a lot in the night. Like, insomnia is bad enough, but when she's here, I have to babysit her pretty much day and night. Because she can't do anything. Like, she can't even turn over in bed. And the reason why she's in the hospital right now is because she had really, really bad back pain. And that seems to be as a result of a pinched nerve. Drum roll, likely because she's been laying on her back for months. And they're looking at other stuff that I literally don't know anything about, and it's really concerning. I do have like some LPs here. Okay, this is just one of my many backup folders. I obviously have way more than this, but some of these could possibly be uploaded. There is actually a segment of DDA XE on YouTube. It's been on there for a few months. I think it's segment 5, actually, the 4-hour one. And some of this stuff might be worth distributing publicly. And there's a lot of ranting and talk in here. And there's some music. Some of it, I don't know. I had mixed reviews on some of those because they can be kind of slow. Most of these are too honest of a cast to put on YouTube. Various compilations, the Epic 7 stuff that is on YouTube. I have older stuff, but I'll probably never upload it. It's not really worth it. Most of the stuff isn't really worth uploading. I did upload a new ArcNets video, and that was the cat event, and that was recorded last year. It took me that long to edit and process a hour-long video. So there's obviously way more than what is here, but it's mostly LPs, and I'm not going to upload those. We probably won't ever have a solution to local hosting ever again. I do not want to have an individual host it. Like, let's say the Drunk Swede came back, and he was like, oh, I can host the files again. Well, the dude fucking bailed on me out of nowhere once. I'm not going through that ever again. Like, once is enough. Once is enough. Like, he had good reasons to do so. His hardware was failing. But he also, like, DFE'd out of nowhere. And it's like, okay. Like, that's how most people are at best, right? Is they're just really flaky. So, I'm not... It's also the fact that he's, like, responsible for my shit, right? He also lives in a totalitarian shithole. So, you know, my content could get him in deep shit. And then there was people like spamming wget on his thing and hammering his ISP, which is going to draw a lot of attention to that. And, right, like, now suddenly he could get in shit for something he was doing for me. And that's a responsibility I don't want to have. So I'd rather just do things straight up with a business that is bound by the freedom of speech laws of the United States. And Pixel Drain was actually one of my considerations. But it is pretty expensive, and I don't know about the reliability. It's been fine for me, what few times I've used it for, you know, iPatch related stuff. But I would need to get like some second opinions about people who also download a lot of stuff from file lockers, and I don't really know anyone who... I guess I know like one guy who does that. So... I would only have to like ask around about the reliability and do some research, but that has been a consideration because the plans are in euros. Oh, maybe. Well, the freedom of speech laws, I think it was in the US, but the payment was in the euros. I don't know. It was really strange when I was reading, but I did some reading about it. I mean, I could ask too directly about, you know, if this is a country where saying a mean word about anyone gets you imprisoned, because some insane countries are like that. Namely the UK, Germany, all the European shitholes were talking about individuals on Facebook saying an off-colored comment that, you know, maybe we have one too many grenade-bearing gangs out there. That's a paddling, right? That's a paddling. And me, I'm a big fan of grenades, right? Not so much gangs. So some pretty specific requirements on what we need our host to be willing to stand up for, and there's not much of that out there. People aren't willing to stand up for much of anything. DreamHost actually was, you know, a fairly reasonable company, other than the whole rug pulling us and just changing their contract on the fly and just butt fucking us out of nowhere. By the way, we have unlimited hosting. By the way, you're using the website to host files. You can't do that anymore. This fucking crazy. You know, I've often felt like you can't really be too tinfoil hat about this stuff, and sometimes I've really wondered if it had anything to do with DreamHost at all, if I was just gaslit yet again. You never know. I mean, there are a number of people in the CC community who apparently are very, very butthurt whenever anybody criticizes Blizzard. Adun is one of them. Adun is apparently a man-child that holds a lot of grudge against me because I would point out the mistakes that Blizzard made. And he would never say it to my face, of course, because he has no balls. I had to get that from a third party. But I do not know why people still defend this fucking company. With all, like, you shouldn't need someone like me to point out to you all the shit they've done wrong. Oh, by the way, speaking of Blizzard, I've got something. Maybe I'll tack it to the end of this video. I've got some AI slop I want to share with you, okay? I'm going to put it at the end of this video. If you enjoy AI slop, you'll like it. So, old videos. Skyrim job. My bad. The WoW Round 2 series. Possibly others. Those are things I'm scouting out. Recent projects. I have a Dungeons and Dragons Reflections video that is over 7 hours long. It's not like the Age of Decay video. This one does do a lot of reflection on, like, the gaslighting that I was subjected to, a lot of the lies and, you know, green text adventure I had when I first started, because you can't really start a D&D without having a green text adventure, it seems like. And part and parcel dealing with children on the World Wide Web. But that helped shaped a lot of how I decided to do things, and I also did a lot of homebrew. So I go through the motions of talking about the homebrew. I talk about the fallout of people not communicating with me. I talk about, you know, how I assess games, how I review games, why I made the decisions that I did in terms to how stuff is run mechanically. It's a lot more technical of a discussion than the Age of Decay. This is one where I actually go through and I show a lot of stuff. I show you how I overview basically how I make the maps. It's not a tutorial, it's an overview. So I show you how I do the rendering for the maps, and I show you the thing HKS set up for the old styled maps. I talk about 2D image editing, removing watermarks. I even talk about AI slop, because I've worked AI slop into my pipeline with, well, you'll see it's limited degrees of effectiveness, but it has helped me shore up some weaknesses in the resources available on the World Wide Web. And there's just like general reflections about the last like near 10 years of DMing and my general thoughts on it. The problem with that video, why it hasn't been released yet, it's been sitting there finished for probably a month or two now, is due to real life being as it is, I have had very limited time to actually do consecutive recordings and kind of do stuff intelligently, which means it's very cobbled together, which means there's a lot of cases where I accidentally show like my desktop or a save menu or something like that that shows files or images or maps even from a current game, mostly Ape. And that's a spoiler for my current players, so I can't do that. So that huge video has already been re-encoded 5 times, and I'm still not verified with it fully, and I still have some things I want to decide if I want to remove from it or not. And at the end of the day, the reality is I just don't have time to really commit to that at the moment. Because that's something I have to watch. When I do these audio recordings, like here's Neo, right? Here's Neo. When I do verification for this LP that we did last year, I usually don't even have this on my screen. I have it on the other monitor, or I have it minimized. I'm just listening to the audio. Because I'm always running AFK. There's always phones ringing, people calling, stuff like that. So I've got to go through that and deal with it, right? And that's easy, comparatively speaking, so long as you don't have to be listening in the background for your grandmother calling for you because she needs workers to come over or whatever, right? Or she's having a delirium fit, as was the case yesterday. Yesterday was not a good day. And with this D&D video, I have to watch it and go through because sometimes these menus are only up for like a frame or two, right? That's just a problem when you're dealing with 7 hours of cobbled together footage across years of time. So unfortunately, that does mean that actually releasing it is a problem. I am working on an Apex X combat systems discussion video. And then there'll be the Apex X T2 State of the Project video. In all likelihood, those will probably be the last 2 design discussion videos I make for Apex X. Unless I can think of another subject we're talking about, because I've covered most of the things I wanted to talk about. I talked about the aesthetics, I talked about the overworld design, which we'll touch on again within the State of the Project. And the combat system's going to go through some of the outliers from the questionnaire I sent to Mucky and Steak and HKS. And, you know, my other like discussions with the Swedishman years ago and stuff like that, and it's going to go through my thought process in regards to that. That's about, I would say, about halfway done. There's not really much else worth talking about this time until if the project actually enters development again. But my ultimatum at this point is that I have to probably be proficient in Blender. I have to have the character model fully sorted out, maybe not finished, but sorted out, that I'm on the path to completion before I even go back into Unreal again. So by my measurement, if life had stabilized back when I made that last coffee hour, that first coffee hour 2, I guess it was, when I talked about this, or at least during the time of coffee hour Dark Age 3, you know, a couple of months ago, by my margin, if things had stabilized at that point or close to it, I would take about 2 years to get the player character back to the stage we're at now, but now with commercially viable assets. And that would include research into Substance Painter, some of the brushes I've got, and making new textures, which is pretty much mandatory for any of the candidates that I was looking at. And obviously modernizing our current textures as well for the existing asset, if I chose to stick with that, and continue to try to fix that in our private variant. 2 years is a long time, but things did not stabilize. Things got worse, and they're going to likely continue to get worse, and I doubt we go through summer without a absolutely catastrophic game-ending event here. And I'll be fucking shocked. I'll be even more shocked if we make it through the year, actually. Everything is on a knife's edge, and at this stage in time, I'm not even sure if she's coming home at all. So it's really bad. Like, this is the worst things I've ever been. 2026 is definitely going to be the worst year of my life. It's right up there with the year between 2020 and 21 when my cats died. We've got death all over the place again, and with my grandmother, it's... you take it 1 minute at a time, right? So Apex X is one of those things that it's like, I would love to work on it again. I've got a lot of content that I could add to it. I want to play around more with my randomizer and my director. I want to learn how to use Dungeon Architect. I want to actually try to fix the internals I wanted to get into. I don't have time to look at any of it. And I know that if I go into Unreal right now, it's just going to be a waste of time until I get the player character sorted out anyways. But I've tried to work with Blender for well over a decade now, and it's not fucking happening. I've tried to work with 3D graphics since 2001, and I didn't get any further than that. So I don't actually know a path forward at this time. I can use any base asset from anything I want for this. And I did an inventory of what I have access to, and nothing is really that close to the mannequin skeleton that I can say, hey, I can slap this together in like a day or two of free time, like, you know, yesterday or the day prior. And worse yet is some of them would, the body might be okay, but then I would need to do a head hack, and I don't know how to do that. And, you know, we're just at the stage where it's like, I think I'm going to end up sticking with what I've got, but I wanted to change the feet, and I got to fix so much topology and shit on it, and I just don't know how to do that in Blender. I look up shit, and it's like different versions of Blender. People just cycle through hotkeys that make no fucking sense. Nothing is explained, and nothing really covers what I need to do. I really need a bitch boy, like HKS was for Unreal and Blueprints. I need a bitch boy to sit down and be my mentor, my fatherly twink, that is patient enough to have me ask the same stupid fucking questions a dozen times a day and hold my hand and slap me each and every single time I try to do something wrong over and over and over and over again. That's the only way I learn. I can't learn through anything else, apparently. That's been the recipe to success. And unfortunately, while HKS has been dabbling with Blender for his VTuber shenanigans, he's still quite a distance from being able to really help me at all. And I don't know anybody else who does 3D stuff. So, a little cooked. So, Apex Axe definitely in a bad spot. Still got some discussion videos that we'll work on. Got some other out there. Oh, I started work on the Albion summary video. I had hoped to have had that done by the end of last year. Wow, how times have not changed at all. It's kind of the part and parcel how things go. I uploaded the Dark Souls 3 randomizer. I uploaded the... I don't think it's in this folder. It's in a different folder. Oh, here it is. Hunted Schwa. Yeah, I uploaded that too. So those are both up. One of these videos, I think it was the third one, got slapped by the Japanese again, and I used YouTube's AI music removal, and it fucking annihilated everything. A lot of the older projects like Sonic 2006, I'm gonna be honest with you, I will probably never live to work on these again in any meaningful manner. Sonic 2006 is now, this is Schwa's edited version. Sonic 2006 is now, the recordings are 10 years old. 10 years old. She also has done Sonic, or rather Shadow the Hedgehog as well. I've got recordings for that. She did a little bit of Sonic Unleashed. I want her to finish it. How can I ask her to finish it when I haven't even processed the other two? When I haven't even begun to process Sonic 2006? It's huge. There's so much silliness and brain damage in those recordings. Will I actually ever get to working on that again? With an edited Tensive project like that, I really don't know. I don't think so. At our current rate, definitely not. I have the Mucky Dark Souls 3 videos. There is a segment 4 somewhere that I did somewhat recently, last year, I think. I think I'm actually somewhat close to finishing this. I would like to finish that. That's also, I think, over 10 years old at this stage. At least 10 years old. There's a lot of things I said I would do. On these hard drives, consuming an absolutely metric fuck ton of space that I've shown before, the Elden Ring co-op, the Dark Souls 3 co-op, various HKS recordings, the tail end of the Dark Souls 2 co-op, and you can tack into that. I've got his Twitch videos, I've got my videos, I was doing picture-in-picture, I was syncing it up. Okay, that's kind of a large-scale project. Speak of the dabble. Well, look who it is. Yeah. Like I was saying. Dude. She's completely out of it. Holy shit. She was fine on Saturday. Early Saturday. I talked to her and she was fine. Now, she is totally out of sorts. She had some major hallucination event where she thought I was there, and the recurring hallucination man that she keeps seeing and she thought I had a heart attack or something. So that explains the bizarre phone call I got in the middle of the night. Jeez. Well, I've got HKS and Vetrius here, and I suspect they want to continue recording something really stupid. I'm pretty tight on time, but maybe I'll oblige. Man, that is crazy. What a crazy night. What a crazy fucking year, dude. It has been a horrible year. Horrible set of years. Horrible. I think, like, when did it first start being horrible? It's just, everything's horrible, man. This is the second person that I've been with now that is going through dementia. Right, like, this is obviously from the stroke, and some people can get over this, but in your late 80s, I don't think you're getting over this. Right, like, it seemed like it was getting better for a time, but it's definitely not now, and I think it also has to do with the poor sleep quality and yada yada yada, but you can't fix this shit, right? Like, it's... These conversations are really difficult to go through, and it's constant, right? Like, it's every day that something like this comes up, and every minute I have to do damage control about something, not just with her directly, but with the legal, the finances, everything like this. And I'm dealing with so many, like, nobody has fucking done anything. Nobody has ever taken her hallucinations seriously. The whole stroke thing was completely avoidable if they just took the hallucinations I talked about early in December seriously and actually looked at the fucking CT scans they took. They would have seen the traces of the mini strokes. We could have prevented the actual stroke. None of this would have happened. None of this had to happen. But our system is so lackadaisical and so fucking incompetent, they don't do the bare fucking minimum necessary to actually give a shit. And these people still get paid. It's just... Dude, I'm so fucking checked out of everything. Just fuck it all, dude. Smoke weed every day.
God, oh Jesus Christ, why the fuck did they make StarCraft 2? What the fuck did they do? Why did they have to touch the pool? I'm a simple guy, I don't like to lie, but janitorial work is making the pie. Sometimes I feel like I don't even need to cry. I push the button, push the code, I'm just shooting a crusty load. So when the office publishes new shit, it always comes to me as a revolutionary bit. What they managed to finally get it to compile, what the investors finally paid off their file. Smile and plod, it's just job security. Mop up the puke and sell it on Etsy. It's sticky work, but it's honest work. So why the fuck did it have to end like this? Oh no, it's StarCraft 2. They really did post magic's ass.
It's worse than you ever imagined. Medicine self-insert using the knob. Prophecies foretold in one sticky glob.
Tricia held for bored out of her fucking mind.
They
totally forgot they were making a game, much less a strategy game. But it gets so much worse. Of course I knew it would be lame, but this will finally put me in a hearse.
Essence, collect the essence. Slurp it up, lick it up, juice it, distill it, can it?
Ferment it.
Essence, gather all the medicines mess. I love it when a plan comes together.
Let's all ejaculate and charge our Christmas models and despair. One glance at the animations, out comes your hair. The cinematic department from Uganda leaked our shit. Pardo's face of bliss and cringing at his own bid. How could one man be so stoic? That's crazy lit.
The game performs like utter shit.
Blame the i7 on the texture.
Responsiveness down the gutter.
Force extra latency. Looks like it's from 1997. Dude, that's where the engine is from. They had no idea what they are doing, so they hired an EA reject instead. His sole goal, put the Command and Conquer Orca into the game. Terrible, terrible damage inflicted on our kerning. David Kim screeching and deflecting. Metzen cooming and gooning. I'm down here weeping and reflecting. It's all a charade, a cum-stained masquerade, God's contrarian tirade. There's no such thing as dissident right. At the end of the tunnel there's no light, just the war chief slimy candlelight. He's out here in the middle of the night, grinning in sadistic and wild delight. The circle is complete and the prophesized load is quite the treat. 3 installations, he's just a lunatic's veiny meat. I knew the time would come when all of hell's demons would run, scream into the hills and bury your faces. We can't even call them races. All our sensitivity training, no one thought about our own brain drain. Wait, there was supposed to be gameplay. No, just yank away the camera and show a timer. Don't forget to add heroes, and never forget to make it all purple and green. Fuck it all, the essence and the ivory towers fall. Smack that bulbous tit. Billy's gurgling as hell's bells ringing from their pit. We've reached the destined last supper. Medicine's fixed up the perfect picker-upper. The golf is smiling in the anal rupture. Faces casting goopy shadows and steamy suture. The man train is so far off the rails, it's broken down a human centipede of endless self-fellatio. Just a mountain of faceless honking clowns, like geese strung up in a gypsy showdown.
Fuck it all.
Fuck this gay earth and all the demons' mirth.
Only heads for birds.
Pull the plug and flush it down, throw down and stomp on the Burger King's crown. In a world with no sanity, can there only be profanity? And that is every word from Matt Horner's vanity. Let's add comics, bitches love comics.
Let's add DLC, bitches love DLC.
Love mayo, let's add hybrids, bitches love hybrids. Our battle cruiser has 99 nuke launchers, but our campaign hasn't a single B&D mission. Just endless bullshit and screaming clowns. Suck the shotgun and take back your loans. Allah has forsaken this dead world. Now you all have downs.
Essence, collect the essence. Slurp it up, lick it up, juice it, distill it, can it? Fermented essence, gather all of medicine's mess. I love it when a plan comes together. Let's all ejaculate and charge our crystals together.
Let's all ejaculate and charge our crystals together. Clad in greasy horse equipment